I'm David Carson, doing an interview with current District 6 councilman, or have whatever you want to say,
Whatever.
Jimmy Oliver. Jimmy Oliver, again, is the councilperson for District 6 here in Florence, Alabama. And he's also up for re-election. He's going to be running again this coming August during this election. And I'm taking this time, I'm trying to interview as many people that's running so the public can get an idea of, be more informed of what they're doing when they vote. So that's why I'm here. Jimmy's agreed to this. I do appreciate that. It's a little early. We attempted this yesterday, had some technical difficulties. And
Wind, helicopters,
yeah,
dogs barking.
tried this outside yesterday, and Oliver came up with the idea of doing this, of using this room here, and I agreed. So we're taking a second crack at it. Thanks for coming out once again to do this. I think this is very important. And I guess we'll start this like we did yesterday. What is your what has it been like this term? This is your first term doing this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So could you go into a little bit about your experience this past, I guess, 5 years doing this job, and your feelings about coming up for re-election?
Well, it's been everything I thought it would be. I got into it because of my love of the city, and you know, having some ideas of how where I'd like to see our city go and the direction it go, and of course, you know, since I retired from my profession that I was in for 40 years, it gave me an opportunity to spend time with people, interact with people, help maybe solve some problems, be a go-between between their issues and the city, that the leaders that could help resolve their issues. So that part of it has been extremely rewarding. And I also knew...
Hold that thought. No more interruptions.
Oh, you'll
Go
be
ahead.
able to edit this, I guess,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, anyway, that part of it has been extremely rewarding. And of course, I knew that also there was, you know, when you're a city council member, you get calls and emails in the middle of the night with urgent needs. And I haven't had as many of those as I expected. I've had a few. And luckily, I would say well over 90% of those we've been able to resolve the issues and have happy people at the end of the day. Not always the case, but like I said, well over 90% of them. So, yeah, it's been everything I thought it would be, and I've enjoyed it immensely.
And obviously you want to do it again.
Yeah, I do want to do it again, at least one more time. I mean, I think 2 terms of this, especially, you know, we got 5 years the first time around. The state, all across the state, municipal leaders got 5 years, and then we'll go back to 4 the next time. And the reason they did that, it was to get it off the same year as a presidential election. So now, from this point forward, municipal elections will be standalone elections, municipal mayors, council members, that type thing. So, yeah, I do want to do it at least one more time. And, you know, it took me probably a year to 2 years of the 5 years to really get comfortable doing what I was doing.
I'm assuming there's not exactly you don't get training before you get the job. You know?
You don't, man. I mean, I'll give you an example. My very first council meeting, I remember it because you were there. And you asked to borrow a pen. I gave you a pen. And my very first council meeting consisted of being called a racist and being, you know, reminded that we were being watched very closely because we were up to no good and this, that, and the, I mean, it was that kind of meeting. And I'm like, wow, all right, let's just dive in here and get going, you know. So But
Sounds like a situation you inherited, though. There's rules.
well, I did. You know what? You're exactly right. I did inherit that, and I knew that too going in. And just until you experience it, you experience it, it was just eye opening. But from that point forward, though, it's it's been a good experience.
Guess might should lead with this question, but anyway, I'm just doing like I started it yesterday. What's your about vision? Like, what's your vision on what you're trying to achieve, or what's your vision for Florence in general? And maybe like, how did you look at things before you got this job, during, and what you're looking for in the future?
I think Florence, we have a very unique town. I mean, our downtown area is beautiful. Everybody that comes here talks about how beautiful our downtown area is. Now, that is not my district. We have 6 districts, as you know. Some of our council members can be pretty territorial about their districts. They don't want you butting into their business, so to speak. My vision was to see us all work together and for the betterment of the entire city of Florence. Yes, we're responsible for districts, but at the same time, I think we're responsible as a group of council members for the betterment of the city. So that was one thing I wanted to see as council members work together for the betterment of the city. I know people talk about creating jobs a lot. Well, we've touched on this before. We have a group here in town. It's called CETA, Shoals Area Economic Development Authority.
This is more than just Florence, though, right?
Yes, it covers our tax dollars support their efforts for Lauderdale and Colbert County.
Okay.
And so they're tasked with recruiting industry and jobs to the Shoals. That is their expertise. That is their background. So that money is there for them. So that kind of gives us, as city leaders, to concentrate on quality of life for our citizens in Florence. Retail, make sure they don't have to drive forever to go shopping at decent shopping centers and that type thing. Recruit retail here, which also in its own right creates jobs. So those are the kind of things that I have an interest in working for to better our city, which I'm sure you'll want to get into some of these quality of life things. I know we've talked about tennis and pickleball and our sportsplex and all these things. Those are the things I'm talking about when I talk about quality of life.
Yeah. I like to take this time, say I've said this before, just to give a context to this conversation, and this is what I'm calling this is a conversation. Like, this is a mixture between an interview and maybe a little debate, but mainly I'm just trying to interview you, but I'm going to debate you a little bit just to get more for the interview.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there just so people know how to take this, but this is mainly a conversation, interview, debate, and stuff. And I was listening to that, and yesterday, when we tried this yesterday, you mentioned the auto industry in Huntsville, and our connection to it, maybe with like North American Lighting,
Right,
I'm assuming,
right.
and stuff like that. Did you want to get more? Did you want to get into that again, or we can talk about something?
I would like to see. No, I'd love to get into it because, and I have the people who are involved with CETA know where I stand on this because we've had a couple of meetings. I'd like to see us be super aggressive in luring. The chances of us getting a big time automaker here are not great because of where we sit and and how long it's not impossible. Don't get me wrong. I'm not giving up on that. We got plenty of land around here that we could find a way to do it. But until that day comes. I would like to see some of these industries, such as North American Lighting, that provide parts for cars.
We could piggyback off of.
Certainly,
Yeah,
certainly creates great jobs. You got the space industry, the
Military.
In Huntsville that already we're our former rail car plant is there's a great possibility something like that could go in there that's going to create a lot of jobs. So we're kind of keeping an eye on that and hoping that happens. But I'd like to see CETA be really aggressive in trying to get those type industries here that create some really good paying jobs. That enables some of our students who are graduating from UNA to remain here in the Shoals.
There's a couple things I wanted to say about that, just kind of open this conversation up a little deeper. I know this area likes to focus a lot on tourism, which is fine, and that brings in people that, money's money, right? But I can speak for myself and sort of like just a whole general sort of economic demographic around here. I'm not someone that's super crazy about trying to get into like a hospitality job and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I'm more of a hands-on kind of guy. I like building things. Mm-hmm. I enjoy like manufacturing, industrial type work, and I just that's just more my thing, and I'm not alone with that. So I think there would be a lot of people that would appreciate. And this place used to have a lot of manufacturing with like t-shirt, mm-hmm. with the t-shirts and stuff like that. A lot of that went away in the 90s.
Yeah.
And this can't be cured overnight, of course, but there's a lot of us that are, would like this area to prosper, but we're not super crazy about like just having just tourism related jobs. Mm-hmm. So it's refreshing to see you to bring that up. I know you also kind of promote tourism a lot as well. Follow up to that, you mentioned UNA people coming out of college and maybe having a job. I like to reflect back on my interview with Ron Tyler and stuff. It seems like some people. He was talking about like supporting UNA so that we'll have the workforce for the jobs that come here. I think that type of philosophy, you're kind of putting the cart before the horse. I think the industry needs to be here before the training. Really, if that makes any sense. If people train here, they're just going to go somewhere else if the job isn't here. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I think it's important for people to be trained and stuff like that, but I think it's more important to get the jobs here first, even if they have to bring their own people here. If they can't find people trained, eventually they're going to have to be replaced or whatever like that. And I think focusing on training to get industry here is putting the cart before the horse. I think the industry needs to be here, before, and then naturally people are going to want to train up and get those jobs here. You'd like to respond to that at all?
Yeah, I mean that's certainly a way to look at it. I do know for a fact that there was one. I don't even want to call it industry. It was more of a high tech company.
Startup.
That it wasn't a startup. They were spread out. I think they had like 4 locations across the U.S. And they were looking at one time at coming here. And one of the things that had lured them here was what was being offered at our university, mm-hmm. and they felt like they could capitalize on those students that were already learning their business 2 blocks up the street, and they were looking at locating downtown. Now that deal fell through for various reasons.
Was this during your tenure? Maybe I should know.
No, it was right. It was just before I was elected. It's probably been 6-7 years ago, around that time.
But you were paying attention during that time.
Oh yeah, and but one of the things that attracted them was what was going on here at the University of North Alabama. But certainly, you make a very good point.
If they get trained here and there's not interest, they're going to go somewhere else.
Well, I think that goes back to what I said. We've got a great university here. We got to get some jobs here so they'll stay here. I mean, you think about it. Let's think about this for a minute. Okay, universities got, I think they're up to 11,000 students. Now, not all of them are on campus there. Let's just say 8,000 are on campus, and I think that's a pretty accurate number that are here in our city. Let's just say if 100 students out of 8,000, every graduating class had jobs they could go to here in the Shoals and in Florence, and they remained here and started families here, think about how fast our population in the city of Florence would grow if they had an opportunity to stay here and it didn't immediately have to get their diploma and get on a plane and go off somewhere and find a job. So I know people. I know people with CETA. They feel it. They feel the pain. They know we're really pushing. We got to get jobs here. We got to get jobs here, and that's what they do. And they want to see them happen. They want to see it happen as well. So I do know they're working hard on it. I do know one spec building, big, huge building. I don't even know how many square feet it is. Huge. You could put 2 football fields in there. It's huge. It's already been built in the industrial park, and another is going up right next to it. So those are there to offer industry, hey, we got a place for you if you want to come here. So they're doing their part. They're doing that part. And I know you and I have talked before. I mentioned quality of life offerings that we could offer. People do look at that when they want to live in your community and go to work here and raise a family here. They want to know that you've got facilities that are comparable to Huntsville, and we do have that here. We have that here. We may not have the jobs in the industry that Huntsville has, but quality of life, I would put it up against what they've got over there for sure.
Do you mind if I insert an opinion on this a little bit?
I fully expect you to.
Okay. It's something a way of looking at this. Take it. People could take this how as they want. I've lived in big, very rich cities before.
Yeah.
So quality of life was mentioned. Sometimes quality of life doesn't necessarily go up. Might go up for a small percentage of the city, but something that also goes up is rent.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I'm not going to get too much in my personal situation, but this town isn't. It's getting pricier, but it isn't very expensive to live here. And I go out of town to make money, and I come back and I can use that. If I was to live at some of the places that I work, I would spend a lot more to live there. So you're talking about, taking some people are coming in, some of the students, and transplanting them back here. That's just going to increase our population. As the population increases, the rent goes up. Everything gets expensive. There's more traffic.
Mm-hmm.
Are you looking for Florence to remain? I just think there's a certain charm in our town that's kind of being, kind of small.
Yeah.
So there is a trade-off, and I'm just wondering, maybe just keep that in consideration. And also places do need to grow; they die. So it's sort of there's a lot to take into it. I just get a little weary. I see a lot of people, especially coming in from like the northeast and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. They're all like, I just moved here 5 years ago, and this is what I see, and this is our economic process. I think you know who I'm talking about. This one guy that came in like 6 months ago and stuff like that. And I actually approached this gentleman after a meeting, and I was just like, all right, so like, why did you choose to move here? Where are you from? Yeah. And he said New York. I was like, why didn't you stay there?
Yeah.
I'm not telling him. I'm not trying to kick him. I was just trying to make a point. Like, you're taking like the mentality of where you just left down here. You're just going to turn this into where you left.
Yep.
Something to take into consideration.
I mean, I hear you, and I do not disagree with you. There's a fine line there.
Yeah.
There really is. And if you were to ask me, do I want to see this be a 100,000 population? No, I don't. And I don't think in our lifetime.
People talk about our homeless problem. This is nothing.
I know. Oh, it's nothing. No, you're exactly right. I mean, you got those issues. And that's not what I'm saying at all. I mean, I don't think in our lifetimes we would ever see Florence be
100,000
people.
We're about
now we could go.
We're about 46 right now, right?
We're 42, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Somewhere. I don't know the exact number. We're around 42, but we could certainly remain. We could keep our personality of our city with another 10, 15,000 people. I think easily. And we've got room for that. We don't have room for 100,000 people. Well, we don't. We don't have housing for that many people.
Well, I hope if we get industry, we promote. I hope the same promotion of industry is also thinking what would promote housing as
Yeah,
well.
I mean, well, those things, the home builders.
Like
I'm going to tell you, if it's announced by CETA today, and this is hypothetical talk, if it's were to be announced by CETA today, so ABC Industry is going to locate in Lauderdale County, and 1,500 jobs are going to be available. The people who build homes are going to start building homes because they're going to know those people are going to need homes because that many people are going to either be moving here for those jobs and need housing. Those things kind of go hand in hand. I've lost my train of thought. Where were we?
we're talking about housing, employment.
I think all that goes hand in hand.
Something coming in with 15,000 jobs.
But for there are people like you that feel the way you do about this. That we don't want to get too big. We don't want to see our prices of rent go up and this, that, and the other. And then you turn around on the other side of the fence and you got people screaming, well, we want this and we want this. We love Florence, but we need this. We don't want to drive to Huntsville and Nashville for this or Birmingham. So we got people on both sides of the fence that have different opinions about where they want to see Florence go. So as a council member, it's tough to please everybody. So you're constantly trying to find a happy balance in there somewhere.
I think all this can be categorized as far as just a vision is concerned. No one's vision is ever going to be 100% realized unless you're just. It's not going to be realized. So
my vision is not to see Florence be 100,000 people.
But you also like to see it grow a little bit better and be economically.
I tell you,
healthier.
somebody summed it up real good for me. I moved here from Nashville.
Yeah.
Now Nashville, how many people they got? I mean, a couple of million. I don't know.
I don't know.
They may not have that many, but I'm talking the entire Williamson County up there. They got a lot of people up there, and he left and moved his dental practice here. He said, because for me, the population is close to being perfect here, and I still feel like I've got everything I had. Restaurants, golf courses, tennis for my wife, pickleball. We've got everything. Yeah, the magic word.
Sorry, I had to.
We've got everything that we could do in Nashville, but we got the quietness and the quaintness, the quaint style of a small town. But we still got quality restaurants we can go to. We can walk downtown on the streets and not fear for our lives.
I've gotten into several arguments with people coming in from Nashville, from Birmingham. They're like, "This will never going out, in Nashville, Birmingham, or New York or something." I was like, "Why did you move?"
Yeah, well,
that's why. And they never have a response for it.
It's a great question. And
you're
you
here
do
for
have
a reason,
some of those,
right?
but I've had way more tell me that they're so glad they relocated here. They love the quietness of the town. They just love that when they walk down the street, people say hello, and they've gotten to know people on a personal basis, just meeting strangers from town. It's we got a lot to offer here.
And also, but there are issues to address. The poverty level in this town is not great. I don't know the exact numbers, but there's a lot of poor people in this town, and certain visions might just chase a lot of people that have been here for generations out, but it might be just evolution or something like that. It is what it is. But I can't help me coming from a blue collar, low income, I feel for that. I know what it's like. I understand the frustrations, and I sometimes try to be a voice to people that feel like they're sort of forgotten because they might not have certain things to offer to people, the power players of this town and stuff like that. So a lot of things to take into consideration. So is there any other things vision wise? We're talking about like current anything else you want to talk about right now?
No, I think that pretty much that's pretty much it. we've got issues that we're very aware of that we're working on, and We know there are people that are unhappy with things, and we're doing our best to resolve those. And so, I think everything we just talked about would overall be my vision, to see some of these things. It's part of the reason I'd like to serve another term. Some of these things we're working on right now, and we're in the middle of, and I would hate to just go, okay, well, I don't get to see these things through. So I want to see them through and
Okay.
see them happen.
Well, we've met before today. We've we've been talking for
Yeah.
we've been in communication.
Yeah.
For a while, and for me, I think we align a lot on social issues.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've had a lot of disagreements about more like financial issues and stuff with different ideas. I'm not a businessman, for one. I might come to count, but I mean, business and social issues sometimes intersect. And I think our main disagreement, I'm going to have to bring this up, is the relationship between UNA and the city.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to say my spiel, and you can kind of respond to that. I can't help but think, especially a lot of my folks coming from like Huntsville Road and the old Royal Avenue and stuff like that. And if you just take a drive through there, and then take a drive through UNA, which is like easily the nicest neighborhood in town, probably. It's just very, it seems like obviously there's a lot of money. They're not short of money, it seems, and it burns me and a lot of people when we see our tax dollars just handed out to them. No strings attached. And I mean, we got so many issues in the city. So a lot of us feel like we're left out. We're not in the UNA club. We got council members that work for UNA, and I'm not saying that we should, as a city, our fates are kind of tied to each other. UNA, us to UNA, and UNA to us. I don't think that UNA is going to go anywhere. I mean, they're kind of stuck here too. That like if we don't give them money, they're just going to leave. I don't think that is the case. But I railed against you hard, you and others,
A little bit.
about the us giving $500,000 a year for the past few years to UNA for projects and stuff. And I just like to give you an opportunity to respond to that, explain or otherwise, however you want.
Well, you're right. You and I have talked about this many times. One, they're not getting money with no strings attached. The money they are being given is not to do with whatever they want to do with plant shrubs, trees, fix a waterfall on the count, whatever. It's dedicated to projects.
Teach gender studies.
Yeah, it's none of that. The money that we have given has been for buildings, money for the new stadium. These are things that, in our opinion, we feel like is going to come back to us tenfold through the years. Immediately? No, not immediately, but through the years. And this is not money that is from here on out either. It's temporary. I'll stop there and say also, I was talking to the mayor of Oxford, Mississippi the other day, home of Ole Miss, and I asked her, hey, just out of curiosity, and I don't mean to be nosy, but do you guys in Oxford, now Oxford's half the size of Florence, their population 24,000. Do you guys give Ole Miss, which is a major university, any money? She said, yeah, absolutely. We have since the late 90s. How much? $200,000 a year. So they give $200,000 a year every year to Ole Miss for whatever projects they want to use to it. Now there's somebody who does no strings attached.
Mm-hmm.
They just give it to them. They support their university. They do it every year. We're doing it. It's temporary. We're not going to. I would not be open to, from here to the end of time, committing to that kind of money to the university. The other reason why I am okay with committing it to just these projects, the buildings and the stadium, is because two things. One, I don't think the state treats our university fairly. there's much smaller schools that get way more money from the state than North Alabama gets. So I feel like they need our help with some of these projects. And again, these are projects that I feel like we're going to get the money back through students spending money downtown. You have events at the new stadium that not just football, but there's going to be other events where those people, when the games are over, they're going to come downtown. Our restaurants certainly appreciate the traffic that they're going to get off of the new stadium. But it kind of goes back to the buildings, the new facilities that we dedicated the money to will attract students that I hope, like you said a moment ago, that my hope and prayer is that we have industry someday here, that those students who were attracted to the university because of the facilities that we helped fund, the taxpayer money helped fund, that they stay here and they make Florence their home. So that's where I fall down on it. And I've had other people agree with me, and then I've had other people like you that feel the same way. Again, it goes back to people on both sides of the fence. What do you do?
Yeah, I'm not trying to get too big. This is, like I said, I don't want this to turn into too big of a debate. I think we've tried to see eye to eye on this, and we're not going to. We're not going to. So I thought I would throw this in here, and I'll just piggyback. I'm not trying to counter your argument. I'm just trying to bolster on my side. Not everyone from here went to UNA. Not everyone from here cares about that university, and from that perspective, we've noticed a lot of people that work in city government have been through UNA. They go to the alumni. They're just like, go, go, go Lions. Of course, like, why would you question us not helping you? We have to help UNA. And some of us just like, not all of us care about that place. We just don't care. Indifferent, dislike. I actually just dislike that. I think it attracts. It's a liberal arts college, and that brings a certain type here, and there's certain types of professors there that have caused problems with some social issues around here and stuff. And I'm not trying to trip myself to give away my tax dollars there whenever you can just drive down Huntsville Road and see the poverty there. It's just like, it's enough to make a person angry. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
All right. Okay.
All right.
I think you and I decided a long time ago we have different opinions on it.
Yeah.
And again, the money that we're giving them is not, till the end of time.
Yeah.
I mean, our commitment to them, I believe we've got another 2 years, and that's it. So, we'll see what happens after that. And I think by then the stadium will be completed. The campus is beautiful. There's no doubt about it. The buildings that we contributed money to are beautiful buildings, and I'm just hoping it attracts, students here that someday can stay here.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to linger on it
Okay.
because we could go back and forth on this forever. Yeah. Probably. I just wanted to throw that out there. How are we doing on time here? Let's see. 9:34. All right. Another question that was brought up, a couple people asked me about, and I think it might yield interesting results. The sales tax was increased, I believe, a percentage. This is before your time here. If it was, as a council person, I realize that you can't really bring agenda items up like this, but it's more like the mayor, I think, maybe department heads. But if the vote was presented to you to return the sales tax down 1% back to where it was before the increase, would you vote yes or no on that?
Oh, I don't know if I'd vote yes or no. I don't know. I'd like to have a conversation about it. I certainly would be open to sitting down and having a conversation like, okay, if we went to 9% instead of 9.5%, what would it affect? Because I know the reasons given for going to 9.5% were to be able to take care of our first responders, our police officers, and our firemen, who we were losing. It seems like weekly we were losing officers and firemen to other cities that were paying way more than we would pay, and it was a constant swinging door. So that money was used to take care of them and hopefully be able to keep them here to take care of the citizens. But I'd like to know how it would affect us if we went to 9% instead of 9. What would that 0.5?
Well, I understand
do?
we got the pretty high sales tax comparatively to like surrounding areas. So
Well, we got some at 9%,
Yeah.
and we're at 9.5. So, what are we talking about there? Let's just say we went in and bought $100 worth of groceries, which in these days is not a lot, but we did that weekly. That would I don't have a well I do have a calculator.
we don't have to. I mean, you can crunch the numbers. I'm not gonna. I
Yeah.
haven't crunched the numbers. I'm just a few people asked me to ask this. So
Yeah, I know, and I mean, like I said, I would be open to having a conversation. Like if we
and
go
that's
back
all.
to
I
nine,
would, me
yeah,
personally, that's all. I
Yeah.
would be happy with that. A
yeah,
conversation.
it would be hard to determine right now without having a conversation because I wasn't here when that happened.
The
I'd
way
like
that
to
went-
know how it was before compared to the way it is
The
now.
way that went down, though, from what I understand, that entire council room was filled with police officers. It looked like they were just bullying bullying the citizens and they're giving them more money.
Yeah, again, I wasn't here. I don't even know what it looked like or
It was a room full of police officers that vote.
yeah.
So, like, I wonder if they were on the clock at the time or not. Interesting, just interesting. Is there anywhere else you would like to take this interview?
No, I don't. I mean,
You have any comments on your your current opponent?
no. I love her mom dearly. I've known her mom for
By the way, the opponent is Chapel
Chapel King.
Chapel King. Yes.
Her husband is an employee of the city.
Yeah.
I've known him a long time. He's been a long time employee of the city, and as I said, I've known her family for a long time. So wonderful people, and love her mom dearly. I can't say that near enough. I've known her way longer than I've known Chapel, but no, I have nothing, to say. I wish her well. I don't wish her too well because I'd like to do this again.
This is a competition, Or
Yeah.
I want to know how would you phrase this? This is a competition. No, it's an election, is what it is. It is what it is. This is
It
an
is
election.
what it is.
Would you be open to a debate with Chapel between now and election?
Of course. I mean, I'll sit down and talk with anybody about anything.
Of course, terms would have
I
to
don't
be
even like the word debate. I'd rather have a
conversation. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm calling
fine with that. I don't want to argue with anybody about anything. Like that. I mean, that's. I'm sure she has her thoughts just like I do about the city, and I know she is an animal activist, and
Yeah.
she's very good at what she does when it comes to animal shelter issues and making sure the animals are taken care of. And I think that's what kind of propelled her to get into this. But I'll say this. I do want to say this. Not necessarily. It's not directed at my opponent, but anybody out there that's considering running for city council, mayor, well, mainly city council. This is a perfect job for someone like myself that's retired, because this is not a 2 meeting a month position. It is every single day of the week. We, as city council members, we serve on 3 committees. We're required to serve on 3 different committees, and we're required to chair one of those committees. So this week I've already sat through 3 meetings this week regarding city business, and that's weekly. There's always something coming up that you need to be a part of during the day. So
weekends off though, right?
well, sometimes
You got to pick up the phone.
Sometimes not. I mean, sometimes you're free, but the phone is always there.
Yeah.
And we know that, as I told you going in, that. But
Well, I will give you this. You've been my access. You've given me access to.
I think you. And
I'm not sure.
for 5 years.
I can't speak for everyone else, but
my point is, I think anyone getting into this needs to know going in, unless you work, you own your own business, or you're retired, it's a difficult job to do correctly, and serve the people correctly. Because if you get a call at 10 a.m. in the morning with an emergency that you need to handle, and you're on the job and your employer says you better not do city business while you're working for me or you'll find another job, you can't take care of that citizen. So luckily I'm retired, and that's what I knew when I left my profession, that this is what I wanted to do, and I knew I'd have time to do it. I couldn't have done it when I was working for a man who signed my checks every week. I couldn't just walk away from my obligation to him and do that. So anybody that's...
I mean, you do have other obligations outside city council, though. So,
What?
well, I mean, aren't you real estate?
No, I put my real estate license...
Not to get too personal, whatever.
No,
but
I don't mind telling you.
it's
My real
relevant.
estate license are what we call kind of on hold. I'm
Yeah.
not actually practicing right now. I
Yeah.
have those licensed.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not. This is I'm dedicated full time to being a city council member. So
Okay.
this is what I do.
Cool. All right.
I still do some radio part time, but I do that from my studio at home. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, how long were you a radio
40
person?
years.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I know I'm old.
Wow.
Don't say it like that, man.
No, no.
Wow.
Well, I mean, I'm not in my 20s myself.
David's doing his math. He's going, how old is this guy? So.
Yeah. Well, I really don't have anything else to say. I mean, there's issues that have come up now in the past. I've attended city council meetings. It seems like right now let's just talk about one current thing, just to keep things current. Like this North Florence sewage thing. I think that's like the biggest thing that's happened this past week. You got any comments on that?
Well, it's been taken care of, and
It's not in your district, I understand. But
it's not in my district, and
it is a hot topic though.
yeah, of course it is, because social media made it that way.
Yeah, it's a juicy story.
Oh no, man, I know where you're going now.
Anyway, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, I've said many times, social media has been a great thing that came into our lives, and it's been a terrible thing that came into our lives. And if used correctly, it can continue being a great thing. But this is one of those situations where there was so many determinations made before determinations were made by the people who knew what they were doing, that it just got blown completely out of proportion. And I think the situation went from people speculating it was going to be a $50,000 repair, and it's turned out to be like an $8,000 repair, and all is well there, and I felt like it would be. But again, that's not my, not my district. I hate to say that, because even though I serve and represent District 6, I still am concerned.
You can't be getting into each other's business too much.
No, we can't.
Yeah.
You can't. Not that you can't. You just shouldn't.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Miss Simmons is. That's what her job is, to take care of the people in that district. She don't need me coming in and voicing my opinion about it, just like I don't need her doing it in my district. So anyway, she did a good job handling that.
To be fair, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No.
To be fair, I guess to be more relevant, I'm trying to think. The only thing I can think of your district that's come up is the sidewalk thing with the Florence High School, the road repair there.
We got that, and we're doing a
Any
proposed roundabout on Gresham Road, behind Home Depot there.
Okay, and is that going well?
Yeah, I mean, it's gone pretty good. We got some opposition to it. Some people from the neighborhood there. The same way we had opposition to the roundabout in East Florence, which has turned out to be one of the best things that ever happened to that intersection there. And
My personal opinion, I think this whole city needs some sidewalks. I like to walk.
oh yeah, well I love them. I love them too. And yeah, I mean, everything's sailing along as good as you could expect it to with those projects.
All right. Well, so do you have any final words for the voters out there? Like, why should they vote for you, or any kind of message you
Look,
feel like telling the voters of District 6?
Well, I would appreciate your vote, and I would appreciate an opportunity to do this at least one more term. And the reason being is to see these projects through. But the bigger message I want to say to voters is vote. We need people to come out in mass and vote in these elections. We got we're going to have a new mayor. Who's that going to be? We could have some new council members. Do your research, look into the people you're voting for, make sure they got time to represent you the way you need to be represented. Find out what they stand for, do your homework, but the main thing is go to the polls and vote, because how many times do we hear of people that are the loudest complainers that won't leave the house to go cast a vote? I mean, it happens a lot. I mean, I can't give you exact numbers, but we got
Turnout last time was pretty low.
very low, very, very low. And for the runoff, extremely low. So that shouldn't be the case. People need to get involved and get out and vote.
Well, I'm trying to do my part to correct that. I think people are not informed. So maybe this.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, this is good. I mean, you're doing a good job with this, and I appreciate the opportunity to be able to. This is a correct way to use social media here. This will go on, I'm sure, Facebook or social media.
It's Facebook, YouTube.
So we're not here on social media spreading false narrative. We're having a conversation. I'm telling you where I stand. You tell me where you stand. People out there listening can take that and do what they want to do with it.
All right, cool. Well, I guess I'm gonna wrap this up.
You got it.
And thanks for coming out.
Yeah,
spend
man.
a little time. Like I said, you came out. Oliver came out yesterday. We had some technical difficulties, so it's our second bout. I think this went pretty good, and I'll see you in the council meetings.
You got it.
All right,
you got
cool.
it, man. Thank you.
All right.